Hey traders, Alex is here. So welcome to the Crypto Lab, featured by Trading Analysis. We are going to look what is the latest for the Fed rates, and then we're going to switch to a chart of a Bitcoin. We did a Bitcoin last week. We're going to revisit it today, and we're going to look probably Ethereum on a smaller time frame to see what's going on. So if you want to pose some questions and some requests, you can do that in the comment box. And also, if you like to see our work, you can go to tradinganalysis.com and maybe have a trial on our crypto service. So let's dive in. After the latest move down in CPI data, the other economic indicators was relatively lower for the US. We are in the earnings. Some of them was not that bad as was predicted, especially in the banking sector. So we still have major companies to announce their earnings, so it's not done yet. Our overall S&P and Nasdaq outlook, which kind of measures now liquidity into the system, is still moving sideways for the last couple of days. We do expect a little bit higher levels, and then maybe we will dive in a correction. So our main scenario from the trading analysis, which you can watch on Wednesdays on our channel, kind of looks for a corrective pullback. We still don't look on a bearish side. We don't have signs for that, but definitely this sideways price action on stocks we labeled as a leading diagonal. It's still possible that something like this will not stand. So we are carefully watching what's going on stocks. So this is our S&P bullish wave count. We still look for one more move higher towards 4,244. So it's not much. 100 points now. 100 points on the S&P today. It's not much. Before it was large. So we do look this in a 5-wave move and a pullback in a corrective second wave or a B wave. So we are still not discussing so much this bearish scenario, which can take S&P much more lower, and of course Bitcoin, Ether, and other cryptos, because cryptos are at least in this moment a measurement of the global liquidity into the system, and there is many factors why the things are like that, and primarily it's a debt in the world. So under this scenario, we have a little bit maybe downside, then move on the upside, and then start over the summer a big correction. Rates are predicted to go higher. So as you can see, the CME Fed tool are still looking for 25 basis points. So now we have 86.2% probability that the rates are going to go from current 475.5 to 525, which will be increase over 25 basis points. And if we switch to 14th of July, market is predicting 61.8% or a fib ratio that actually we are going to stay put. We are not going to move rates in June, and I think July we are still standing 53.6% that we're going to stay on the same 5 to 525. And then September we are seeing a gradual probability that Fed is going to start reducing rates on the lower side. So that is still pretty much in question. Depends on the CPI, depends on many other data. But the latest production and manufacturing data in the US didn't came so well. So labor is still moving slightly up. So I think the Fed will probably potentially make a hike and then be data dependent. So economy definitely is heading probably toward, they use the term soft landing. So depends how rates are going to hold above 5%. My main scenario is that actually they're going to start a different narrative very soon as the rates are concerned, especially if the next CPI goes below 5%. So that's why picturing the macro elements and also our technicals, we do still stay on this bullish side, I will say, on the S&P, looking for a pullback, and the same will look in cryptos. So Bitcoin, on Ethereum, it's a bit different thing because it's advanced, and I think it's going to have a bigger part. So the same situation is in Nasdaq, which is a kind of a proxy for the Bitcoin. So 5 waves up in a diagonal, one more move on the upside, and then a pullback. So this is our main scenario. And to go through a Bitcoin chart on a larger time frame, basically there is no labels here, so I'm just showing you the overall Bitcoin kind of a generational 5-wave move. And in this case, we are still looking that we should heading higher towards this. There is 2 targets around 100K and higher. Depends how much the stock market will go if we don't go on the downside. So if you see, I can play with this labeling on our multi-wave going back and forth. But if we remove all of the labels, we definitely see a support here. This is a weekly 200 moving average, which we are trading above, and now we are moving lower. So I would like probably to see this 200 moving average hold, but we also have a daily from the last move on the upside, which basically is around 23K, which is also an interesting level. We might kind of spend some type of a sideways bouncing between this weekly and daily, which is here. So daily is here, and this is just a little bit of technicals. RSI is going higher. It is trading around 66.75, so we might see a break on the downside. So we still watch that on a daily. It already started to point downwards, so we are tracking that, and we are looking for an impulsive move down, and then a pullback when the S&P goes and fulfills this leading diagonal, and then we might see a follow-up to these levels or these levels on the downside. So we don't know that yet. We will see it afterwards. But on a larger time frame, we are still holding the view according to our viewing of the global macro situation and what's going on, that we are going to stay on a bullish side, looking for a wave 2 down, wave 4 and wave 5 in the next year or two. While the rates might go a touch on the upside, while these 2 wave pullbacks fulfills, and then we start moving in rates lower, and all of the risk-on assets classes continue to trade on the upside. So if we peak a little bit more on a downside, so this will be a 5-way move, and then we go down in A, up in B, down in C. Depends which 200 moving average holds. We might have a shorter version. Depends how the Bitcoin actually performs during this potential downturn. I'm looking for a 5 waves down. This is still not, of course, a done thing. This is our overall. So I'm going to go on a smaller time frame, show you what do I see on a Bitcoin. So we might see this as a leading diagonal. So this one is of an expanding variety. So 1, 2, down in 3, 4, and 5 with a little bit more downside. So the expanding variety means that every leg expands and it's bigger than the previous one. So as we can see here, first leg is small, third leg is a bit bigger. So if we do measure that, we're gonna get 1618 almost, which means that we crossed equality and the third leg is bigger. And of course, just from the visibility side, the fifth leg is obviously almost double as a third leg, which kind of gives credibility to this to be an expanding leading diagonal with a little bit more downside. And then we might see a wave 2 pullback, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5, which will be some type of an A wave, which we have shown here. And while the potential S&P do a correction, we might see this A wave prolongs into full 5 waves, or this will be the 5 waves pullback in B and down, which will be a shorter version of a pullback. So We still don't know that yet. We have to see a follow-up, and probably in a week or two things will be a little bit more clearer to where this correction, if it sustains, it's gonna end. So we might also look something around the June, July. It's gonna take time. We are already on the end of April, so we have a Fed in a week or two. I think it's 3rd of May. Let me just check that. Yeah, 3rd of May. So if they hike rates, most likely this pullback in the S&P and Nasdaq will start, which will initiate cryptos to go further lower. The question is to where. Okay, so if we time that by some measurements, I think June, July will be the end, most likely, of this correction, and then we can expect and see if the market reacts and what the Fed will say, where the CPI will be, and some other measurements, and then if the Fed kind of sees CPI goes lower and economy goes into a bit deeper recession, I think they will flip their stance and actually pause and then reverse the course if the CPI stays lower. So that is one kind of a narrative or one story that I'm looking, which I think has a better chance. If we see more of the downside, then we will have to actually admit that this might be just an ABC in Bitcoin, and that things are going haywire to the downside in stocks and in cryptos. For now, we don't see that scenario yet. So if you look from the ABC point of view, we have reached equality, a measured move, which is usually what you would expect of a correction. And you will see a 5-wave move down sharp, touching 22K, and that will be the sign that potentially wave 1 on this bearish scenario is started, and then we can look in a 5 waves down towards 4 to 6K. In line of the bearish scenario on the S&P and Nasdaq, which actually looks for a 3,000, 3,200 as a support. As I said, we are still not in that camp due to various reasons. Market is too short, expecting. So when the market is too short and you can see these recession fears everywhere, usually market doesn't go down. From various also macro reasons and the stance of Fed, which will be more clearer on the 3rd when they hike, maybe they will say that potentially it's a last hike or they're going to pause. We will see. We do think that this is still not an option for us. I'm just showing this to you, not to have. We always have 2 scenarios, but this is my last favorite scenario for now. I'm still gonna go with a shorter pullback and a continuation on the upside for now, and that is kind of my stance. Where do I sit? So yeah. So let me see some comments. Neil, Alex, can you please provide an update on DXY? I believe this has been missing from the last few sessions. Yeah, I mean DXY is moving according to the basically following rates. So if we see rates up, probably DXY will go on the upside. Chainlink, Hex, hey Alex, thanks for the show, and can you view Kava Chili's Alpha Al Khalifa? Yeah, so you can check our membership for that. Yeah, so we don't do so many things here. This is just a kind of a public display of something that we do. Let me just show you Ether as well, and then yeah, Ether is a bit more progressed on the downside, I think. So let me just find where do I have this chart on a 15 minutes. Yeah, so it's here. So Ether has a nice probably starting the larger 5-wave move from these highs. So we see from highs 1 up into nice wave 3 on the downside. So if we measure, we reached almost 2618. So I don't expect this 5th wave potentially to be longer, or we are already done. We are going to correct on the higher, but I don't see this impulsive. So I will stay with a little bit more upside in a wave 4, and then final push towards 1900 and then we can see some pullbacks. But 5 waves down means that potentially we have seen the temporary highs in Ether, and we might after that continue lower. So it pretty much pretty much resembles the Bitcoin chart. So that's all what I got for you guys today. Let me just do one request. So Chainlink has reacted a touch in the last 2 weeks, which is good. We were looking for some type of a reaction, but this is still not enough for Chainlink. As you can see, it's acting really weird. I don't know why. There is some fundamental reason, but from these lows, we didn't see on Chainlink anything substantial on the upside, and that is what is bothering me. Labeling this as a wave 4. So for now, as you can see, we have only 4 waves, 3 waves up. So we have some type of let's say 5 waves flat, and then we have only 3 waves up. So something weird is happening with the link, and it's still corrective in my opinion. So I will not label this as of any impulsive notion so far. Maybe it's going to do some type of a flat here, moving one more here and then reverse. But for now, link doesn't behave, and it actually missed to react when the Bitcoin Ether was moving higher. Okay, so let me just show you Ethereum Bitcoin, which was our early day. We have pointed that long time ago. So we see some type of bullish development on Ethereum Bitcoin from the last 2 weeks. From lows that we looked for a possible second wave. So this will be an A, some type of a triangle B down in C. So we have some type which looks some progression which looks like 5 waves, and potentially from this area we might continue higher. So our thesis that Ethereum will surpass Bitcoin in the at least 2023 going higher, it's still pretty much alive. Especially if we climb above this, let's say, zone, which is kind of a pretty much big sideways zone. As you can see, from April 2021, more or less, we are trading into a range, which kind of suggests this is some type of a correction. So we do have this as a 1, 2, wave 3, pullback in a wave 4, and then 1 down in 2, and we are expecting now acceleration on the upside. Which means that potentially Bitcoin might fall further in this correction than the Ethereum, and then when we start move on the upside, in my Ethereum it might climb a little bit higher, at least until this sequence is fulfilled on the upside. Let me see some measurements. I find this chart very interesting because and very telling. So it's a very nice chart. That's what I'm showing. So one of the targets are 0.1426. So I guess something like this will be, especially if we break this upper resistance levels. Sorry, this is the wrong label. So resistance should be here at 0.088. If we cross that on the upside, the rest of the highs will be most likely a big probability and moving, and it's going to continue moving higher. Yeah, so would you like to see Hex? Yeah, let's see Hex, and that will be it for today. Hex, yeah, I think Hex is still in a corrective pullback, so we have more downside. We have some targets from 0.035 to 0.047, so it's still moving lower, and I think it's going to accelerate as cryptos are potentially going to continue lower. Okay, so I think Hex is still in a correction mode. Okay guys, so thank you for being with us. So we're going to continue to track that, and if you want to see more, you can join us at tradinganalysis.com. Take a trial and see what we do. We cover many cryptos for our members, and we do chart requests for our members. So if you need some type of a guidance, macro things and also how the cryptos works, you can visit us at tradinganalysis.com. So thank you guys, and see you next week. Bye bye.